And there we go. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first live stream of the 100 tools with 100 collaborators. I am joined by Lulie Tanett. Thanks for joining me, Lulie. You are the first of 100
I'm really
collaborators.
excited about this.
Me too. Excellent. Okay, so we were going to then, where did it
Tweet,
go? Tweet about this.
because that's the most important thing to do first.
Absolutely. What's the URL? Let's see here. What is the URL? It should show up here.
Edit or
I do at least know we can do this, I think. So now it will show up here, as you can. Yeah, there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay, so now we can tweet about this right here.
say live now in all caps.
Live now. We need a good emoji.
The red like dot thing, which is like if you just search red, then the dot, because that's like the record button.
Ah, like this.
Yeah, big dot. Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Is it on the left side or the right side?
Left side would be like the blinking light.
Perfect. It's beautiful. Okay.
This is our first piece of art that we're making.
Absolutely.
The pre-art before the other art.
Send it. Okay, there. The link is there at least. All right. Cool. So we are building an artistic angle trainer of some sort. We're working on a title here, but we've got. Let's see, Lulie, do you want to do a quick summary of what it is we're making? You had this idea. You said you've been wanting this for 10 years.
I think so. I mean, approximately, yeah. So there's a thing in drawing where if you can see what the angle of some shape actually is, like you've got like a whatever, you've got a shape, and there is an angle here, and if you can see like exactly what that is and then replicate it on paper, then you can draw it much more accurately. And the way that this is usually taught is that like either you're just kind of you're drawing a thing and you kind of just like do it by kind of trial and error, and you're just like, that's not quite right, and then you erase it, and then you like move it slightly, and then you keep doing it kind of by eye, and you're always like looking back and forth between the object and your paper. And this is kind of like a long and tedious process, and there are a couple of other ways to sort of train it, but all of them take quite a while, or like require tedious setup. And so what this is like, it's a thing that where you can learn objectively what angle is that, like from whatever 0 to 180 degrees, like actually like what is the numerical like angle that is. And then once you can have that, then you can just like do the line, and you don't need to kind of do this sort of like back and forth trial and error thing. So I currently predict that it's possible to learn this in like an hour. Like this might be like ambitious or something, but based on, so this was sort of inspired by this game, the eyeball game, where there are these various shapes, like what's it, trapezoid and whatever, and circles, and you can just kind of like get your eye accurate. And like I think like after like playing this for a while, I got like quite fast at it, and I thought like you could do this with angles. And so if you could, and also I've done it with things like fonts, so there are apps that kind of show you different fonts and like the different things, and then again, like within an hour of using these apps, you can identify a font, like even if they're quite similar, from a mile away. And so this would just speed up like learning to draw by quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, and we kind of came up with this thought of like this could just be the first of many little mini games that could teach you specific artistic eyeballing skills, kind of like this game has a bunch of different things. the two that we thought at first were like, given a line of a certain angle, produce the numerical value of that angle, and then also given a number, draw a line that is that angle. And you were saying we might also potentially add things like, are the what was it, like the midpoints between
Yeah,
a
like
line, or
proportion in general,
mm-hmm.
like how long is this line compared with another line?
Yeah,
I like to some extent angle is kind of more fundamental because
yeah,
if you're looking at a real object, then if you know all of the angles, then the proportions kind of come for free. But I think proportion is also just a very useful
mm-hmm.
like way of looking at a scene to get accuracy. And there are tons of these optical illusions that make
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this line and that line very difficult to compare. And so if you're kind of more used to seeing past those optical illusions, like I'm in general, I'm very
yeah.
interested in like that there are these optical illusions, but it is possible to learn to see past them. I first got obsessed with this when it came to color. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is a maybe a tangent to what we're doing here, but like there are these like optical illusions involving like a shadow on a thing, and this thing is the same color as this actually. But if you
Mm-hmm.
just like
Right,
replicate
yeah.
that, then
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna like introduce error because you're drawing what you see instead of what's actually there.
Right.
So yeah, so this is kind of like a very useful and simple way to learn to see past certain optical illusions.
Huh. Maybe that could be a part of the title somehow, or the description. I like that idea of seeing past the optical illusions.
Yeah, that I would say is slightly more in like line length. Like we're just like really
Hmm.
terrible at like measuring, like especially if it's like
Okay.
there's the horizontal and then the vertical. It's sort of like how do I even compare that?
Mm-hmm. Do we Yeah, and you shared that image earlier today of like the idea of tracing the what like the primary angles over a picture as another potential
Yeah,
enhancement to this. Is
yeah,
I'm getting the idea that basically like if you've got the angles figured out, you don't have to worry so much about a lot of the other things. I guess like proportion and like other stuff, it'll kind of take care of itself if you do that.
yeah. To some extent,
I
yeah.
wouldn't have thought of that, so that's pretty cool. I also feel like yeah, the uh, if you I've come across the idea that if you just see more examples of something faster, you can pick it up faster. If the feedback loop between like this game, the eyeballing game here, you can see like hundreds of examples in like 5 minutes. Whereas,
Yeah,
as you were saying, like if you're in an art class, the teacher has however many students can only verify, your answer once every 10 minutes or something. This is like an order of magnitude faster to learn. So
yeah.
I'll be
And
interested to
if you're
see.
just
Hmm.
yeah, even if you're just doing it yourself by eye, and then you look and then you look and it's like that's not quite right. Like erasing
Right.
takes time. Like even if you have
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
iPad,
Yeah.
it takes time, and then you draw an angle, and again you're just like guessing kind of randomly. Whereas
Right.
if you've got this thing that is sort of like it's you're really it's in your head already.
Mm-hmm.
I like to compare it to perfect pitch. It's like you're comparing
Right.
to an objective angle rather than like just like noodling around and hoping it comes out right.
Sweet. So I think there's a lot of potential here. So basically, I have prepared a little scaffold for this app that looks very rough on purpose. So I have a system where basically we can kind of maybe give a title for the current mini game. We've got a canvas that can have lines or whatever else drawn on it, and then we have sort of a status bar of sorts at the bottom here. Um, I think. Let's see. We also have this document going where we can keep track of things that we've done. There will need to be So things we'll need to figure out. There'll be a little bit of content in this, I think. We'll have kind of the text for each of these games that we could jam on, like the instructions and the title, and like I think there'll also be some art assets that we could we can come up with a color scheme of favicon, a little browser icon, and basically anything else that we would want for it to look good. So, what should we start with? Do you want to make this look a little better first as kind of a way to get started with the code? I have a system in place, a CSS framework that I really like called Tailwind. And this is a system for kind of like it's kind of like a toolbox for design. It kind of gives you a bunch of sort of pre-made components of design. There's another styling framework I've used called Bootstrap that sort of gives you a nice enough looking thing out of the box, but it's not very flexible. I like this one because it kind of is like on a bit of a lower level of abstraction. So like it has tools for like margin and padding and like borders and colors and stuff like that. So I think it could allow us to iterate pretty quickly because like if we want to change the background, I just hit save, maybe. There we go. And something like that. Oh, that's what happened. I accidentally pasted an emoji in there. So
That could have been worse.
yeah, it could. Let's see. So then, it's like that red is too dark. Could lighten it or something like this. So shall we make this look a little better as a first thing?
Sure.
Do you have any thoughts on color scheme? I mean, we could just do the black and white, I suppose, but
yeah, I mean, I would say like we start from that kind of simple black and white, and then we can always like add some style.
Sounds good. So yeah, these can all be
Also, is
white.
your code just on your machine, or is there a way that I can edit it also? I don't know, maybe this is too late, but like I know a bit of CSS and I can kind of noodle around while you're doing the real coding.
Oh, that's true.
The real programmer coding.
I don't have a way to do that.
Okay.
We could. There's a tool for pair programming that I could look into
maybe
at some point.
Consider that for next time.
Yeah,
and just
sure.
like get a kind of functionality first,
okay.
And then we can.
Sounds good. So I guess basically, where was this? Perhaps I will remove the red background at least. How does that work? Gray. You could make it something like that. All right. Can't. This could be like that, and then maybe like a.
We've got some people in the chat.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Where is our? Oh wait, this is the wrong chat box actually.
I can take care of the chat. You can do the coding. Yeah. So what is the what are we running this on? Like what are you coding it in? Because I know that it's going to be like a web app.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like JavaScript or what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm using a library called Vue Js. It's for building web interfaces, kind of similar to React, if you've heard of that one. It kind of allows you to break up your app into components. Normally in like HTML and CSS, you kind of have a document-based system where you've got styles and tags that are all kind of in one place. Vue lets you decompose things into different pieces and it kind of lets you extend HTML with new tags. So you've got kind of like this template block and then a script block, and you have sort of like a root one that goes into, I guess you've got the base page, and then you have like the anchor tag where all of the app is going to go into, and then you have sort of an entry point, and then from there you can kind of make new tags. So like I have a tag for the angle trainer minigame, and then I've got a couple of tags that I made beforehand that wrap the canvas tag that let me kind of do things like this, where I can kind of specify X and Y coordinates, and it will change on the fly here. And yeah, so it kind of gives a nice way to decompose things a little bit. So basically, we can create any HTML tags that we need for different pieces of functionality. So, and you can also mix and match just like normal HTML as well. So, so you've got your standard h1 and divs, but then a canvas frame tag that wraps the canvas element and so on, and which kind of hides some icky JavaScript that I figured out beforehand because this took a bit of messing around. But yeah, so let's see. So I guess the first thing that we need to do is what did we say? We basically, it's like pick a random angle, and you said maybe between 0 and 180 would be a good range. Let's see. Let's go here. I guess I'll kind of mock it out here. So pick a random angle between 0 and 180, and then I thought maybe we could start with the case which is you are shown a line and you have to provide an angle, since that'll probably be simpler. And then we can use that to build the other one. So in that case, we would need to show a input box, and then we'd also show a line demonstrating that angle.
Shout out to Abhinav and Mikhail in the chat
who
hey.
Are
providing entertainment while we do this.
Excellent.
Thank you for your comments, guys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Show a line, show an input box, and then basically allow entering text into the input box. And then I somehow enter the value, and then show show the amount of error, I guess, however you want to call that, and then click the next button to go to the next next round, or whatever you want to call it there. So there's that. So basically, how should we lay this out? We could have like 2 columns. Although if we want this to work on mobile as well, it could be like, maybe I'll move this down here so I can see. There we go. If everything was vertical only, it might be easier to see on a phone. So it could be a good idea. Could be like title, instructions, canvas, input box. Could even put it here at the bottom, like in this bottom bar, and then like it could show the accuracy after you've entered something. Actually, let's make it that. Okay, so let me mock that out here. We said title, canvas, and then we need another thing for the form sorts. So we're just gonna go like that. So we'll need an input tag, and we'll need a way to reference the value. So Vue Js lets you bind a value in an input box to a value in your code. So we will be able to do something like the angle. We'll start it at a random 37 degrees, chosen by randomness. Also, yeah, Vue also has a nice little like debugger thingy. It'll show you errors in the browser, so it often will not show, or often will not just crash, which is nice. Type text, and so then we can say the model binding of this input is our angle that we specified at the bottom. And so that should show, maybe. Type text. And then we could do something like the angles value. I have that right. Ah, yes, the text is white, of course. So we can then say text black, maybe, or is it color? No, there's just no value in there now. I must not have that set up right.
David, is there something that I can be doing that's more useful than
Sure.
shit posting in the chat?
That's the
Which
chat
I'm
guy.
happy to do, just to be clear.
I suppose we will need a little bit of text for some of these things. So like in the document, we've got like each minigame will need like a title line and like an instruction line if you wanted to edit these. I don't feel like I've got very good text here. And like any, yeah, that would be something that would be good. Why? Do I not remember how to do this? Oh, they may have changed it. Oh, they did change it. Vue recently upgraded to version 3 and they changed some stuff. At least I thought so. Data. Yes, can be used to. I wonder if I can actually put this as well. here. Something like that. Yeah, there we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. And yes, I agree with Michael here. It will encourage me to make the workflow super efficient. As you can see, I'm currently fumbling on something, but that is basically the goal here, is to, because basically for a long time I tried to build one single ultimate amazing project and never really finished it because I was trying to build the ultimate project of Destiny. And part of the reason why this whole thing came about was I joined a intellect salon with Sylvia, who makes drawings, and she gave a talk about how constraints breeding creativity, and I really enjoyed that conversation. And this project came out of that conversation of like, because as I told her, as a programmer, I've had this problem where I can build my own tools, and so I always feel this need to build everything that I use. And then like,
You use Linux. Is this Linux?
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Just can't do it the easy way, huh? But like, uh, but it's like because I can do anything, that means I could do anything, which has bred a lot of perfectionism, I think. And so part of this is attempting to be a little less perfectionistic. This is the first live stream that I've done on this system as well, so we'll take it as it goes.
I've heard the same be described for when you're talking about the limit, how limits can actually help creativity.
Yeah,
Poetry is, I think, a good example of this, like where you've got rhyme and meter. It sort of like channels your creativity in a certain way.
yeah,
So nice to have. And there's also a thing. I mean, in art, there's if you have like a limited palette, like there's a thing called the Zorn Palette, and that's like a specific set of colors that you
yeah.
can only use those colors, and they can produce some nice results.
We actually talked about the Zorn palette in that discussion.
No way! Ah, so he knows the Zorn Palette. Wonderful.
Yeah, did you see her limited color palette experiments? She
I don't
was
think I did, but that sounds lovely.
she was doing picked like 6 colors and started playing around with them, and it seemed like it was producing some interesting stuff. We're off to a strong start here. I feel I seem to have not figured out how to do a fairly basic thing. They changed it on me. How does this work? V model
So
in
I was
Vue
going to
3.
ask,
Mm-hmm.
you have the instructions. Draw a line that is the number of degrees that is in the box. What do you mean in the box?
This is a terrible piece of copy, but basically, like if I have a text box that has a number in it, like if it'll say something like draw an angle that is 37 degrees. Like what should that text be? Because it shouldn't be whatever I have there.
Cool. I'll do some stuff.
Sweet. I am going to need to optimize my window layout. I've got a tiny box here. Let's see. Yeah, you have the thing, and then you have the thing. This is what it's supposed to be right here. You say in the data method, you have it return a value, and then you say vModel to make it that. Maybe if I refresh enough times, it will work now. This should also change its, yeah, so it should scale as well. That's good, it works.
And when you say draw a line, like, is this going to be a thing where you like click and
now.
drag, or is it going to be a thing where there's an existing line and then you move it, or what's the?
That is something I would like to discuss as well. For the version where it's given a line, produce the angle, I guess we can just, I mean, version 1 is just this basically with a line and floating in space. But yeah, like what would be the best interface, do you think, for producing the line? Because I could see it where it's like it has a, we could like draw a horizontal line and then we could draw another line off of it, and it could just be if you hover over the canvas, it will connect an anchor point to your mouse cursor and then you click to set it. Or it could be like, could also be something where like if you move the mouse, the line on the screen rotates and then it's sort of like
That sounds good.
sliding.
So basically, there's like one point, like it's a random line, and then
Mm-hmm.
like when you move the mouse, then the line kind of moves with it, and then you click to select. So either
Yeah.
that, or like there's a line of a random
Mm-hmm.
angle, and then you click and drag to move it. Could be good. So.
Yeah, if we're if we're going for speed, we could make it the fewest clicks possible, and then like it to make it work with touch controls. It could be that also if you drag, like if you touch and don't lift your finger, it would also move, and
Yeah.
then when you release, it could be on release for mouse or touch. I think that will work. Okay,
Yeah, that sounds good.
cool. Also, I think the code worked inexplicably, so that's good. Oh well. So I changed that. Okay, so now I've got a little box here that has the angle in it. So then I can draw a line that is that many degrees. Now, how do I do that? Let's see here. Do a little. I believe I can use the transformations API to rotate. Yeah, here we go. That's about what I'm looking for here. So I can, I think I'll make a new component called rotated line. This is,
I'm also thinking, so for an initial training thing,
mhm.
I wonder whether we'd have like a kind of like a step 0, which is something like this is this line, like just showing someone like a
Oh,
bunch of the. I don't know if that's useful though. Like if
hmm.
it just tells you instantly, then it kind of you'll learn just by doing it, and the eyeball game doesn't have that, so it might not be necessary.
In a way, that's basically just jumping to the answer. So we could
Yeah.
do that fairly easily, I think.
Yeah, maybe that could be like a thing that we consider after we get kind of the main
Sure.
functionality, and then we think about whether we need it.
Put it in the document. We
Yeah.
could we
Okay.
could actually that we could use this as well as a feature tracker. Um, any any ideas could go in there. Here we go. let's see. Okay, so to draw things in the screen, I am using the HTML5 Canvas API, which is one of my favorite APIs in the browser. I played around with this, built some video games for game jams using it. It basically gives you an HTML tag that you can just plot pixels on, which is kind of fun. So I've wrapped a canvas tag in some Vue components, and I'm kind of excited about this pattern. I found it somewhere where basically you instead of providing an HTML template for your component, you provide a function that is called which does something, and so the something here is just um, draw things to the canvas. So I can kind of use a more declarative style of writing code as compared to a programmatic style. So I can kind of make a component that is called angled line that takes parameters of like what angle. And so I can have it draw a line at any orientation just by changing the value that I pass to it. So did I this line? Copy this. Yeah, this is canvas angled line, I guess. As the joke goes, there are three hard problems in computer science. One of them is naming things, and the other is off by one errors. But the naming things is hard. I feel like
No, finish your thought.
I feel like I've spent a lot of my time in coding trying to figure out where to put things and what to name them. That is also probably something that I hope to kind of get a little better at in the course of this project is, and also a goal of doing smaller things is just like once you start making programs of a certain size, you start to get into software architecture and engineering instead of just like programming, and that's another discipline that I wasn't trained for in a lot of ways. So, but it is an interesting area. Programming in the large as opposed to programming kind of smaller scale.
I was gonna say, with the idea of like having an initial training,
Mm-hmm.
maybe there could be something like 3 levels of difficulty. And the
Ooh.
first one that it kind of like trains you at the same time as like showing you the basics. Like first it will show you like a a vertical line or whatever, and then it like a 45-degree line, and then
Oh,
there will be like
yes.
a multiple choice of like 4 different options, and then you kind of know, and then those get kind of progressively harder.
We could make this an actual game with like game mechanics.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, yeah. That would that would probably ease the difficulty curve a little bit. Yeah, I
Exactly.
really
and,
like
and
that
and it would
idea.
kind of train you because, like, okay, that's a 45-degree, like it could only be like 3 different things or 4 different or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly it asks you to produce the line, and you're like, well, I already know that because I've just done a bunch of these quizzes or something.
Yes. Yeah, so if I make a kind of I've had the idea that this library, this Vue JS library, kind of lets you build sort of a marionette of sorts, like a digital puppet almost, where you can kind of drive the user interface with just kind of a few values. And so I could see that part being like um, the game itself. We could kind of come up with uh, like difficulty levels as encoded by like what angles will be presented for each difficulty level. And
Yeah, would it be helpful if I
yeah,
just like make a bunch of these, like, here are like the actual angle and then the
yeah,
multiple choice and then which one is, should I add that to the
perfect.
Google Doc or the Roam Doc?
Would the Google Doc be easier in this case? Like,
Either one is easy.
okay.
The Google Doc feels more like final, whereas the Roam Doc I can play around with
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, that'll work. Is it? Did I turn off permissions on that?
I don't think so because I was editing it
Okay,
earlier
good.
today.
Good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you wanna kind of sketch out the flows for the game, that would work well. Yeah. Kind of the interaction design of sorts. That would be great. Oh man, this is coming together here. Okay, so we need a way to draw a line at an angle. So I've got the Canvas API allows you to do sort of a. Oh man, I am gonna need to optimize my layout at some point. All right, thank you everyone for chatting. I need more screen space. Let's see. Rotate example. So we take, say, so when you use the Canvas API, you locate the Canvas tag in the document, and you get a context object. The context allows you to plot pixels on the canvas, and so if you're going to rotate the canvas, first you can hit save, or you can call canvas.save, and then later you can say context.restore, and that will undo all of your rotations. So for drawing a line at an angle, if it's going to be, let's see, first we'll need the angle. So instead of x1, x2, y1, y2, for this it'll just be what, I guess maybe like the center point of the line, or kind of the origin point. So just x and y, and then the angle, and then the width and the color is still there. Okay. We'll set the width and the color, and then rotate. I assume we want the angles in degrees instead of radians, generally.
I think so.
Okay. The math stuff requires radians, so I'll do some conversion.
Sure I know what radians are.
Fair enough. How many pies around the circle are you going? I don't have an intuitive feel for how much a radian is, but let's see. Yeah, so I take this, I rotate the canvas by the angle, and then draw a line from the start point to the length, I guess. I guess you would probably need an angle and a length of the line. So you would go from 0 to length. Okay, so how does one convert from angle, or from degrees to radians? I believe it is like, yeah, pi over 180 times the angle. I think that's right. Move 2, line 2. Okay, that might actually just do it. To rotate the rectangle around its center, we translate the canvas to the center of the rectangle, then rotate the canvas, and translate the canvas back to 0, 0. Oh, yeah, you have to... Well, we'll see how this works. So now if I go to my angle trainer component and I swap out the canvas angled line. Or do both, I guess. Actually, let me do both. Oh, well, okay, so that's fine. Line, and then I will pass it x and y and angle equals 37 degrees and the length. Sort of. Okay, we got something drawing on the screen. I'll just fill it in from there. So now I should be able to change this, and it will update the line. Cool. Okay. But it's not drawing right. Did. Well, that would have been exciting. All right. Adrenaline rush. Oh, dear. Okay, so. Where were we? Yes. Use rotate to first rotate a rectangle from the canvas origin and then from the center of the rectangle itself. Help translate. Right, I need to translate. Right, it's not move to, it's translate to the place where yes, because if I want to draw a line that starts at 100, 100, I can move the canvas's 0 point to 100, 100, and then rotate, and then draw the line, and then move it back. Yes, so what's happening right now is this left example, the line is off the screen because it's rotating over there, so I need to instead it's this part right here. Okay, yeah, so first I translate to the place that we're interested in, then I make a path, or no, then I rotate. Then I make a path the normal way from 0, 0 to 0 this length, and then restore, which is sort of the same thing as translating back. Yes, yes, yes. So now the angle starts at about there. The angle then is, if the angle is 0, what do we get? So it's going down. If the angle is 10, it's like that. So I need to rotate by 90 degrees, I guess. Is an angle that is 45 degrees one that is like higher than the horizontal or lower than the horizontal? Like, do we go?
That doesn't make sense because the line goes through, so it's like perfectly diagonal. Like it's perfectly between horizontal and vertical.
Oh, I mean, like, if I start at 0 and I rotate, basically, am I going counterclockwise or clockwise?
Ah, counterclockwise, I
Okay.
think would make sense. Because like usually it's drawn like a yeah.
Yes, when you do angles in code, it's rotated 90 degrees, it looks like, and the other direction. So I'll just
Right.
flip it around. Yeah, that'll work. So angle plus 90. And then minus.
Oh, that's an interesting. Yeah, do we want to have both? Wait. No. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because it eventually goes background that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've got an angle draw or a line drawing at an angle here.
Nice.
So yeah, that's 45, 90. Sweet. Okay. Oh, and then if I wanted it to be, if I wanted it to rotate about its center point, though, which I think in this case we do kind of. Translate to the rectangle center. Yes. So that means it would be translate to the line's center, which would be the X. If I have a line that's horizontal and it starts at a certain amount, if I go half the length plus this dot length over 2, and then rotate and then translate back to the original location. Did I do something? There we go. Say my angle is 30 degrees. Okay, and it starts at, call this just, yes, the center line would be at a certain amount. So hello, Dalton. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, chat people.
We are building a tool to train your eyeballs to better see lines or angles. And I am messing with the Canvas API right now.
The invisible information of lines.
If I believe this point is the one that or no, it's probably over a little bit more, isn't it? Take the thing. What does, okay, wait a minute. What does translating actually mean here? If you translate the canvas, it moves the canvas and its origin on the grid. X indicates the horizontal distance to move, and Y how far it goes down. It's a good idea to save the state before doing any transformations. In most cases, it's easier to call restore, right? So, if I move this to the center point of where the line is that I want it to be, so that would be, oh, right, so that this is not actually what I want. I just need to draw it in the center. The origin point for this rotated line is going to be the middle, and then I rotate it a certain amount. Yes, I just need to move the line to rotate the canvas. So at 0, 0 is the center point. So I just then need to move to negative this dot length over 2 in the X direction, and then in the Y direction. Oh, that's why it was 90 degrees rotated. I was drawing it down. Will that do it? I think so. So now if I go to the angle and I increase it, yes, we've got a rotating line. Excuse me. Okay, that I think that will be good for now. So now we've got a box down here where I can rotate the line if I enter a value into the box. Sweet. That seems like something good to save and do a commit with. So where are we at currently? Oh, I haven't committed anything yet. We'll add all of these things. Everything is fine.
So Dawson in the chat is going on this drawing program to learn to draw, and it's called Draw a Box. And drawing boxes is the very thing that I want to destroy with this app, because like so there's a thing that in art schools often you have to just like draw a ton of boxes, and it's a way of like learning how to draw these sort of angles just by like this kind of laborious process. I'm sure that Dawson's course is like better than this, but often in like if you go to sort of art schools or ateliers, it's this like I remember my friend went to, well, I won't say which school it was, but it was one of the ones in London, and I said, yeah, so you know, how was it? And he said, no, we were just drawing boxes all day long. Like I don't know if I can draw another box. And it's just exactly to learn this skill. So if we just had this software, I think it would take the pain out of a lot of students' lives.
This is like boxes at different angles, like
yeah, like you'd have like a physical box, like it would be like, you know, I don't know if it was a cardboard box.
Oh, like okay,
but because they would have an angle, right, and so you'd be trying to draw it very accurately, using the comparative method of drawing.
Oh, I could see how that would get kind of boring.
So Balafot asks, what text editor are you using?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you use VSC?
This is Vim, NeoVim, the ultimate text editor. It is one of the elder programs in the Linux religion, so... But yes, partially I use it because I'm familiar with it, but it was back in college, I was in a computer science program, and there was a third-year student in my dorm who was a diehard Linux user, and so he rounded up all of us freshmen and forced us to learn Linux. And it was the best thing that's ever happened to me because I learned Linux thoroughly. And Vim is one of the two great Linux text editors, along with Emacs. But it certainly does take more effort to set up than VS Code, which is Microsoft's
Wait, I have a
fancy
meme
one.
about this.
Oh yes. There. Basically, it's very powerful, but it does take some work to set up. It is a power tool, I guess you could say, and in many ways, this is a fitting for something that I would use, since I always like to do things the hard way. But Vim is the tool that I have used to program for at least 15 years at this point, I suppose. So it's kind of hard to switch at this point, but. Something that I will say is that Vim has gotten a major upgrade recently because it was getting old and crusty because one person was using it, or one person had built it for a long time. It was kind of their project, and it was open source, but like it was kind of stagnating in development. And so a bunch of people were just like, "We're gonna make it good again," and so they forked the project and decided to just start cleaning up the code. They removed support for things like the ancient processor architectures that aren't even used anymore. They removed a bunch of like, you have to use UTF-8 encoding. You can't use whatever else and all this stuff. And then they also started adding better scripting support, so you can use Lua as a scripting language now instead of NeoVim or VimScript, which is one of the worst programming languages I've ever seen. So there has been a sort of renaissance of Vim users lately. A bunch of people are making really cool plugins for it. So maybe I should do a stream sometime of me configuring my editor a little more. But it's certainly, yes, if VS Code works for you, it's a fine tool. Probably be using it today if I didn't learn this a long time ago, but I suppose using Vim is something that kind of got me interested in building tools in the first place, since it's sort of the cool thing about Vim is that it's a text editor that only requires using the keyboard, and so it sort of heavily optimizes for key combinations that do fairly powerful things. So I can like jump around really quickly and do stuff without reaching for the mouse. We've got a line that rotates. Very excited about this. What should I do next?
I sent you a meme in Zoom.
Oh,
chat.
yes.
I don't know if it's easy to go to. It's slightly not.
Oh, here we
I
go.
misremembered it. It's not quite about Vim, but it's about a similar sort of like vibe.
Emacs is equally memeable compared to Vim.
This might be too.
What do we have here? Have you used Emacs? Or is this okay? Wait. Oh man, the pinky. Yes, Emacs is famous for its terrible ergonomics and having to hit keys with your pinky all the time. I will say that the last time I tried doing a programming live stream, most of the conversation was about the relative merits of the tools being used. So it is a tradition.
Always the way.
How goes the
Yeah, if you go into the Rome thing, I'm designing some levels of
excellent
stuff. I've just been doing this between the the shit posting in the chat.
I feel like
Scroll down. There's
you gotta have all of those. Here we go. You need equal. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is perfect. I can take this and levels. Okay, so we'll need a little like a game engine-y type deal that will keep track of the current level and the current like. Okay, so we have multiple choice and then also like just direct eyeballing of the angle. Yeah, text entry, produced line. Okay, right, because that would be the different levels. Okay, sweet. So draw a line at a certain thing. Show me what it is. Yes. Okay. I like where this is going.
got stuck about how to. Should I just do like 1.9.1 or should I make all of these like 1.1.1? I'll figure it out later. It's not that important. But they probably won't even see what the level is. This is just for our reference.
So with this, the next thing that I'll need to make is a way to so we have three ways of entering the value. Multiple choice questions are sort of a special case of entering the angle into a text box, and then the produce line is sort of the other way
Right,
of
or
doing
it could
it.
be like a choice, like a click button type thing.
Yeah. Buttons instead of an input for the first levels, the first stages. Yeah, they would just be fairly similar from a code perspective. So I can probably. Yeah, so like given these levels, I'm now trying to figure out like what components do I need in order to build these. So we need to have the line thing. We need to have an array of buttons potentially for adding. Okay, so yeah, okay. Oh, my angle is really large. So given there, we could have a row of buttons that are like oh, angle input. Just have some buttons. So there's a button that's like 0 degrees. Excuse me. Drowning in tabs. Let's see. So the very first question is 90. Okay. So that would look like that. I guess I'll make a answer button component. So I can style it. And we'll go just be a button where the values are, let's do a border. Is that how it works? There we go. Cool, got it. So then, I wanted this to be in a row. This. Yeah. So here at the bottom of the screen, we've got buttons. So let us style the buttons. And should probably get a snippet at some point. Props. Does that work? Button text, which is going to be a string. No, wait. This won't have. It will have, it's the slot. Text that goes into the button, or the child content of the tag is inserted into this slot tag. Yeah, so now at the bottom here, we've got the numbers. Now I can add a little padding. Better padding X8. Yeah, something like that. Background border.
Can we also have a thing where if you guess a certain number, then it will overlay it when it tells, like if you get it wrong,
yes.
then it has like the red one, and then like a the right one.
That'll work. Yeah, like the eyeballing game has. So in that case, I need to be able to draw lines. Yeah, like this. Yeah, the eyeballing game, mini game of like make a right angle, looks pretty much like what we're going for here.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then like it shows the actual one.
So you can compare something, and then it's more feedback.
Yeah, sounds good. Yay, some people have watched us. How exciting. Okay. All right. What angle is this? Text XL. Cool. Is that? Yes. So if you click one of these, if you click one of these buttons, it will basically make that the angle that you're looking at. So, a method which is like that.
It occurs to me that this is going to be difficult to like we're going to need some testers, because I think like once I run through it, then I'll know intuitively like what the lines are, and so it'll be difficult to sort of map out a difficulty curve. So right now I'm kind of doing it based on sort of dead reckoning and like imagining what it would be like to try and answer these questions. But we might want to like have people try it out and say like whether it felt sort of the right level of difficulty or frustrating or too easy. But
This is why we have Twitter followings. We can unleash it upon.
exactly.
Yeah, we should do like a Twitter thread that kind of explains what it is and why it's made, and then like send your feedback. I can also, we could generate questions as well if there was some sort of heuristic for what makes a question easy or hard or something. But that would have less control, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is like having people give more specific feedback and say like, "Hey, was there any particular point that you found was whatever?" We probably don't need to bake it into the. I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm in favor of the lower tech options as a first draft, and then we add
Absolutely.
features after.
Something that I have been coming to terms with is there will always be plenty of tech that needs to be done anyway. And so, as much as can be removed as possible is probably good. So, I am in favor as well of that. Okay. If I click on the button, what happens? Oh, I should probably have the debugger open. Okay. There we go. Yes. Okay, so then so I have, yeah, I can use the for loop here too. Choices and search. Choices. Okay. So given a list of angles, I need to create one button for each angle. For now, I will just hard code a list of angles and get rid of it. Then I will try that again. Oh.
I'm gonna go get some unwise 5 p.m. coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. There's a square bracket open that was opened. Oh, wait, okay. Or, no, yes. I closed my square bracket. I needed to get a linter set up. I had one at one point, and now I don't have one. How's everybody doing over here? Very good, very good. Excuse me. So, yes. Going to need to do some optimization of the screen space, probably. I'm using this fancy window manager called DWM. I'm not sure if it is conducive or not to this, because it's kind of expanding and contracting all over the place. I think I just need a second monitor, because the the video is I see the webcams over my code editor. And I have the Zoom sharing banner at the top. But so it goes. We wanted to just, or I wanted to just get something going, because perfect is enemy of good and all that. So. So what's the syntax error, Vue Js? Why don't you tell me where the syntax error actually is? Opened on line 18, column 27. What line? Is that line 18 of the script block? That may be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. What's wrong with it? Oh my goodness. There's not a comma there. I need a linter. I need a linter badly. Is it worth setting up a linter right now? Probably not, but I had one working for a while and then it like stopped working and I undid all of my plugins and then never put them back. Oh well. Such is life. How does this work? I can go like this and then I can return a function which takes the value from here. I can go answer button click with the index in it, I think. And then I can do that. And I think, no, that's not going to work, is it? But why not? Is anything working? Yes, some things is working. Wait. Oh, I've got that backwards. I've got that backwards. It's like this, isn't it? Okay, well that works. Cool. Okay, so now you can click on the button. Something happens. So maybe what it could be is it sets the angle to be equal to this dot answer choices sub index. What happened? What happened? There we go. Something exploded. As is tradition. There we go. Now you can, well, you can. This isn't quite the tool we were building, but there is a thing where you can click the button and the line will change depending on the button that you press. I think we're done here. No, not really, but wish I could see the chat on my screen without having to. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out too. I could probably bring it up on something else too, though. I could probably do it on my phone. If I go to my channel, or no, wait, something else.
And I'm back.
Excellent. I have a.
You made a thing that wasn't the intention, but was a happy accident, as we say in the art world.
Absolutely. I have a angled line that rotates depending on which button you press.
Nice.
So if you choose 90 degrees, it will orient to 90 degrees.
What happens if you click the 314 button?
Goes to 314, which I guess is, yeah.
The first 3 digits of pi.
Heck yeah. We should add Easter eggs like that.
I did. That was. There are subsequent like questions where I start out saying, what is it? Where was it? Yeah, the first was like the wrong answer was 314, and then the next one is 159, and then I, then it wouldn't be a so.
Oh, the
I don't
last
think
one
anyone
is.
except like super nerds would get that, but yeah.
I dig it. Oh, we could also. We could, if you enter a secret code, it could like do something. It could go into weird mode. All the answers could be something. I don't know.
I suspect Easter eggs are things that people create when they're doing like a lot of repetitive work. So this is like entering in a lot of numbers and stuff, and then you just like you want to entertain yourself, so you make the Easter egg for yourself, and then other people sometimes get to benefit from this.
Have you heard the story that some version of Excel has an entire flight simulator embedded into it? That if you do something right, it will launch a flight simulator. Yeah.
Aren't flight simulators quite intensive?
They are.
Intensive?
So it was a fairly elaborate Easter egg. But apparently somebody did something.
That takes a lot of gigabytes.
Yeah, probably. I don't know how full featured the flight simulator is, but I heard it later on that Microsoft banned all Easter eggs because one of them flopped badly.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it was Microsoft Coffee. I think it was this. It was like they made a box that said Microsoft Coffee on it, and like somehow got the news to like talk about it as if it was a serious product, and the like people thought it was real, and it got out of hand, and so then the suits didn't like that, I guess. But we can add Easter eggs into our stuff. Yes. I thought 314 was a very precise pi-looking number. Let's see. Okay, I need to make something that's not just buttons that change the line now. So I can basically use the format you're using here. I can encode this as like level is a list of buttons that are of a certain name, like A 90, B 45, C D 314, and then answer. Do you think there will ever be a reason to do multiple choice for something that isn't an angle number in any of the games we might make on this?
I can't. It could be if we add the proportions thing, then it could be not angles but sort of divisions or like doublings.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to make that separate or make it part of the same thing. But yeah, I mean it'll always be some kind of. I was going to say it'll always be some kind of number, but now I can imagine like half of something or whatever.
Yeah, so I think it should probably be like. Oh, wait a minute. We could. No, okay, I got it. Work. It's but the this is the sounds of programming, grunts and hums. Oh. So we have levels, and then we have like the type of game it is. And the game can have multiple levels in it. So it.
Yeah, and it might be that we intersperse like, you know, a few levels
Mm-hmm.
of this, and then like maybe an equivalent kind of different type of game at sort of a similar like level, and then like going back and forth or something.
So there's kind of a concept of like a level set almost as well, like a what do you call those in a course or a stage or
Yeah. Maybe I should kind of go through this. Like so far, I've been doing it intuitively, but I have been noticing that I've been using certain principles. Like the earlier ones are easier, like they're around a particular thing that I
mm-hmm.
think people are more familiar with, and then it gets narrower and narrower, and then it kind of breaks your mind in certain ways, and then it's like a different part of the angle spectrum. I could instead of like just like doing this, I could design some principles like, you know, first you learn, you know, the degrees
Mm.
between like, you know, 60 and 30, and then you learn how to differentiate between like, you know, 49 and 41, and like the specific things there, and then you do the same for different sections. So we could do it more
Yeah.
organized. I imagine that doing a slightly kind of this kind of more organic thing where I'm just kind of doing it based on my intuition like might
Mm-hmm.
help learning in certain ways. But yeah, either way could go. Like I predict that me doing it this like this works because I'm focused on this task, and so I can just like produce this, and I still have the mind of like, you know, going through this.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I were to come back to this and like rebuild it from scratch, or like do a different thing, or like add like, you know, 20 new levels, I have to either have some kind of principle I'm following or
Right.
be in the mindset of that. But you know, coffee exists, so probably will be fine.
You could add like a description of like what the principle you had in mind
Cool.
was
Yeah,
in
I'll
each
jot down
level,
some principles.
notes or something.
Yeah,
Because I could see it being useful either way or both ways.
yeah.
It would be knowing like the theme of the level could be useful for us, or even to like show the user.
Yeah.
Like if this is becoming kind of a like a skill curve basically.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess like when I was first thinking about it, I was thinking in terms of sort of, oh, it can just be randomized, and so long as you do them enough, then it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought like, well, like let's have an intro where it's multiple choice, and so you get to learn them. I think like
Yeah.
it basically depends how much work we want to put into this. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
even just kind of what we have so far, if we did this as sort of like just to sort of initially train your eye, and then
Yeah.
giving it the other types of like the text entry and the produce line type games.
Mm-hmm.
This is more just to kind of give you a feel for the numbers initially, and so I'm not sure that we need to spend too much time in level one design.
Okay. Yeah, because this is sort of the tutorial. I think
Right.
it will be valuable because, like, if it's too hard immediately, people won't play. But I don't know that it needs to be a ton of tutorial because it seems
Okay.
like the goal is to get them to the straight up entry versions of this. But I do like the idea of easing it in a little bit somehow because, like,
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, it might get frustratingly difficult. And like, yeah, the
Yeah,
number of
I think
levels.
what I've made so far is fun. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of imagining playing it as a, and like I'm giving some curveballs and then some easier ones, and I think it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't played it myself, but that's what I'm kind of designing it with in mind, to give you some initial wins and also some
Right.
initial like to not make it too boring as well.
Yeah, even if they kind of go through this fairly quickly, getting it, getting some right answers soon or quickly, it seems like a good idea. Cool. Okay. So is it basically you would just go through level one from start to finish, and then level two, like or would we want to just mix two and
Yeah,
three
I think
together?
I'd have to play it to see sort of how,
Mm-hmm.
like my guess is that everything that I'm doing now, because it's multiple choice, you'll go through this very quickly, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can just throw level two at them. Like this is sort of
Okay.
the tutorial zone.
So I need a way right now then of given a given a mini game type of either multiple choice, text entry, or produce line. Have a answer in mind. There's always an answer in mind, and then there is a way of picking an answer. Yeah, so I just need a. Let's see. For each of these, like basically, I'm just trying to pick out the common pieces or the chunks. You've got like the prompt, and then you have the way of interacting, and then you have the feedback screen, basically. Okay. So in that case, that you have where you have. Yeah, so the answer is a certain number. Not done like that. And then mhm. uh, so there will be two lines drawn on the canvas. The one representing your line and one representing the actual line in each of these. And when each of those are shown is determined by the type of game. In the first ones, you see the answer and then are shown your guess after you pick an answer from the buttons. In the last one, you're shown your guess and are shown the answer at the end. So that, okay. I'll need to figure out how to draw two lines on the same canvas. Nice. Thanks. Yeah. 30. So then line starts at the same place. This one is correct answer, and this one is your answer. Ah, it can work. Sweet. Yes, and I can change the color easily. Maybe.
I think I finished level 1 design.
Excellent.
If I have done this right, then by the end of it, then the user will feel satisfaction that they could tell the difference between 121 degrees and 122 degrees.
Oh.
We'll see if that actually works out. I don't know. I don't have like a sense for how hard this is because I haven't tried the game. But,
Sure.
I can always add like another set of levels if it ends up too hard.
Okay. Is detection to a degree a goal for this? I guess I don't have a feel
like
for.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to. I think it's possible as well. Like I once was learning how to do copperplate handwriting, and it's a very precise 52 degrees,
Oh,
and you
okay.
kind of you get that sort of intuitive. And I think if you can like very very precise degree changes matter a lot in art. Like it has
Mm-hmm.
kind of compounding Like if you have even
Oh,
like one
sure.
degree off, then and especially for things like likeness, like you want the face to be exactly like right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of why I want this tool, so that you
I
can get like
see.
really accurate.
Cool. Huh.
And I think basically you'll learn to sort of like certain angles will be friends. Like already 45 degrees is a friend of ours. Like we're all familiar with
Mm-hmm.
45 degrees. It's that, or I don't know, whatever.
Right.
I'm not sure now.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, and like 90 degrees and whatever. And so if we can just make more of these different angles, sort of like, you know, familiar friends, then I think the rest will be not too difficult.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I guess you could probably differentiate those if you practiced. So I guess the line needs to be long enough to be able to differentiate it. Wait, the
Yeah, I mean, we could flash it on. Can you flash it on screen now? Like the difference between
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, 45 degrees and 46 degrees or something like that.
Let's see here.
I mean, it could mean that I need to add more levels to make it more gradual, but I think eventually that's you want to be able to tell by a degree. And also imagine the satisfaction of knowing I can see like to the very
Yeah.
degree.
Is that updating? Yeah, there we go. So this is 45 versus 46.
Ooh, it's so subtle, but this is definitely relevant in art. Like if
Okay.
you make them longer,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that.
I can.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Like if you,
Hmm.
yeah, it
Interesting.
does. Yeah, if we can make one of them one color and then the other a different color.
Yeah. Why does that not work? It should be working right now.
But yeah, we might want to put this like a box around it so that it's easier to compare it to a horizontal and vertical.
Yeah.
Like
Should
the
the
eyeball tool.
should the angle be? Let's see here. If I've got two angles like this, should they be shown like with a midpoint, or do you think it's better if they're like from a corner rotated, like the box?
I think for training, like if they're floating in the middle of a square,
Okay.
that would probably be good. Because yeah, if you've got it compared with something, then it's like I can see that making it easier to learn initially, but then it's less sort of realistic to what you'd actually
Oh, sure.
be.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, we should consider it, like try it. But right now, my thought is if you just have a box, so you can
Mm-hmm.
have like in your mind an objective angle.
Sure. So kind of like, well, yeah, I can do that too. So draw a box.
Like you want to be able to see some kind of like horizontal and vertical, but
Mm-hmm.
probably. Yeah, I mean in person. Yeah, well, as a first pass anyway. Like we might want to kind of get rid of the box to try and make it like slightly more like real life, where you don't necessarily have a box encasing everything. But I think this is certainly like easier to get the theoretical kind of grasping on it.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. The colors should be working. Why aren't they? Okay. Color. Color green. Color red.
Yeah, my guess is that we're going to run into things like how does the artist actually replicate this angle? And is it that they are imagining this box? Is it that they use their pencil and so? But I think we need to like actually try it to see what kinds of things happen and how easy it is to learn, and like what happens if we have like a kind of a square box and it's right in the center of the square box, and then we take the box away, and then like can people still do it?
Right. Yeah, you don't want the training wheels to be the thing that they learn. Let's see. There's that.
You could have something like the box for like the first round, and then it's another round without the box, or something like that, or like having a line as reference for the first round, like connected to it, and then like do exactly the same but with no line. That could work.
Okay, so there could be modifications to the games for like difficulty level. Like you could have like just different difficulty levels then as well, or like.
I do think like having randomized sort of numbers, or like numbers within a particular range, could be good as well.
Okay, so I need to make a component that can take the parameters of the round and make that independently from something that generates the parameters for the round, which can either be from a hard-coded list of values or something dynamically generated. Okay, that'll work. Also, why is my color not? Oh, because it, or no, yes, it's right there. Why aren't you in there? Oh, oh. Something is strange. I will be back in a bit, or a second. Not a bit. I am trying to figure out why my lines are not colored, because they should be, but they aren't. Such is life. Hmm. Oh, yeah, syntax error, of course. Of course. There we go. So that does work. Color. This.
I got too tired to keep entering in numbers or like doing the next one, so I made a temporary fav icon.
Oh, nice.
It's very temporary. I like when I have more brain power, then I'll come up with some kind of design. But right now, it's just a thing.
It's a
I'm
real
probably
app.
gonna have to take a break soon. I
Okay.
have to leave it on the hour anyway.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can do that would be helpful for this?
I feel like we've got a lot to work with here. Yeah, the questions here I can certainly put in. I've got them in a text file here, so I can. One thing that Vim is good at as a text editor is parsing stuff like the Rome text, so I can kind of
very nice.
transform the numbers into a format that the code will be able to use pretty easily. Some macros, so that'll work well. Yeah, I feel like at this point, I kind of just want to like beat on the code for a while and then come back. So
sounds great.
Yeah. But yeah, if you've got an icon, I can add that as well. Is it somewhere you could?
I'll send you a message, and I don't know where to send it to you because I don't think Twitter accepts whatever this is.
Could you paste it somewhere into the Google Doc or?
Oh, maybe. Can I add attachments to a Google Doc?
You could just like, what format is the image? Is it a PNG or something else?
I got it. Yeah, PNG.
Okay.
All right, I just use one of these generators again.
Okay.
It's very like.
It's a real app if there's an icon.
It's bad, but it's it will work for the time being. I'll just post it at the end. If this will work.
Bad at first is how you go. Okay.
It's like an oh god, this is
Here, I'll DM you my email. Just send it over that.
Yeah, cool. Right.
Well, thanks for being on the show, if you want to call it that. This was fun.
I'll see you again sometime.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been episode 1 of the 100 Tools with 100 Collaborators. Yeah, sweet. Awesome. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, Lulie. All right.